Hi, good morning. Today you're going to be looking at these factoring trinomial notes that I'm sending to you. On the side of your notes, there are step-by-step instructions. Find the product of the first and the last coefficients and write it in the top left space. Write the middle coefficient in the bottom left space. We're going to use this tic-tac that you learned about already, and then find the numbers that multiply to be the top left and add to be the bottom left, and write them in the right column. Oops. And the last step is factor into two sets of parentheses. So you should have watched a video on this yesterday, but I'm going to show you how to do it as well, because all of these words, while they sound a little confusing, should make sense to you once we do over an example. So here's my example written on the whiteboard. X squared plus 7x minus 18. So what we learned in our video yesterday is you're going to do negative 18, two numbers that multiply to negative 18, and add to positive 7. So over here, if you like to do this part, these are the boxes you learned earlier in the week. I write negative 18 up here because that's what I want my numbers to multiply to. And I write 7 down here because that's what I want my numbers to add to. And if you look on your worksheet, your example, you can write it in right here. There's a multiplication sign and a plus sign. So I need to think about things that multiply to be negative 18 and add to 7. So when I think about things that make 18, I know I have 1 and 18. And the video you watched yesterday had this information in it. 2 and 9, and 3 and 6. Those are the things that make 18. So when I look at this, if I add 18 and 1, I'm not going to get 7. If I add 2 and 9, I'm not going to get 7. And if I add 3 and 6, I'm not going to get 7. But I have a negative 18 here. So in the video we watched yesterday, we now need to think about negative numbers. So 18 minus 1 or negative 18 plus 1, that's never going to be 7. But let's look at 9 and 2. Well, if it's a 2 minus 9, that's going to give me negative 7, and this is a positive 7. So what if I did 9 minus 2? Now, when I multiply 9 and 2, negative 9 and 2, or negative 9 and negative 2, I get negative 18. And when I add 9 plus negative 2, I get 7. So I know those are the two numbers I'm going to use, and I'm going to make my two parentheses like my fourth step says, factor into two sets of parentheses. So we did this part already, and now we're here. And I know the x squared is just going to be 1x here and 1x here. So x squared is going to be that, and I'm going to break it into my numbers here. So I have a plus 9 and a minus 2. Now, if you happen to write it, actually, if I turn on this, if you happen to write it as x minus 2 and x plus 9, that's the same thing. You can write that either way, but the 2 must have a negative and the 9 must have the positive. So this way to write it would be correct, and this way to write it would be correct. So today, your job is to try and work on these 4 problems, which are on the second page of the document you received today. If you're struggling, you need some help, please reach out and let me know. Have a great day, guys.